Welcome back to the WHHI-TV Daily News. Joining me now is Police Chief Jeff Meyers with the City of Port Royal. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you for having me.
So you are going through the process, or at least going to be starting to go through the process of becoming accredited as a department. So talk to us a little bit about what that means and why it's important.
Accreditation is very important. It's the South Carolina Law Enforcement Accreditation, SCALIA. And what that means is it's a nonprofit organization that comes in about every 3 years and reviews all your policies and procedures to make sure that they are up to standard with best practices in law enforcement. What that does is they review, we have a ballpark between about 125 to 150 policies and procedures. They come in, they make sure each one of those policies has all the key words in it, all the key functions, all the key meanings, and make sure that we are following what we should be doing.
That's a pretty big number of policies and procedures. So, I mean, that's a lot to go through, a lot to remember. And so talk to us about that process. I know you said that they come in and kind of review all of those, but what specifically are they looking for, and what do some of those policies and procedures address?
The biggest thing why I think accreditation is important is not only do they determine that you have what's needed in every policy. Let's say it's a use of force policy, or if it's a pursuit policy, it has all the basics in there to make sure we're applying to not only state law, but to our own local ordinances and also to best practices. But the big thing about it is once they determine that we have all the verbiage in there that we need, the most important thing in my mind is they demand a thing called proofs. And what that means is every policy, you have to show that not only do your officers know the policy, have reviewed it, signed off on it, but that we're actually conducting ourselves according to the policy. So it's very easy for a police department to say, okay, we've got a policy on that, but are we really living up to our policy and abiding by it? And that's why I think accreditation is important. We have to show the assessors that they come in every 3 years and make sure that we are doing it. And they allow us to prove that by things such as showing them reports, talking to community members, talking to town officials, talking to officers, showing videos of officers actually in practice. So it's very comprehensive, it's very thorough, and it just really shows that, yes, not only do we know our policies, but you know what, we live by them and we stand by them and we're performing up to our policies.
And you mentioned they come in every 3 years. Obviously, that's to make sure that, like you said, everything is in place. But of course, that would also be new officers that are coming on board to make sure that they are up to speed on all of those.
Absolutely. All officers have to sign off on all the policies, have to make sure that they know them. What they normally do is it takes about a year before you're even ready to be assessed for accreditation. So we have to get all of our policies, make sure everything's right where it should be, make sure we have the proofs to show it. And then they'll do, after about a year, they'll come in and do a mock assessment. They'll come in, take a look, say, okay, everything looks good except for this, this, and this. So they'll tell us what we need to improve. Once we feel that we're ready for that, usually in about a year's time, so after a full year of starting the process, they'll come back in with their full assessment team and say yay or nay whether we made the assessment, whether we will be accredited. And then that accreditation is good for 3 years. And then that's when they will come back in and they'll reassess us again. And if there's any issues or any concerns, they let us know. And if you don't meet the standards, they will pull your certification.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like, even though it's every 3 years, it sounds like you're really kind of working on it all the time to make sure that you're ready for that next period of 3 years when they do come back. Because like you said, you're preparing for a year in advance. So you're really kind of always working on this.
We are. And we have an accreditation manager. He has several other duties. It really could be a full-time position just to be the accreditation manager. But being a small agency, we have a sergeant assigned to those tasks, and he's constantly chasing after officers, say, okay, you know, I read this report. Can I have your in-car camera video? Or can I have this? Just to make sure that we are having everything documented and show that we are doing what we're supposed to be doing. So it's definitely a full-time position.
Yeah, for sure. Well, Chief, thank you for being here today to talk to us about this. Obviously, it is a very important part of what your department does, and we appreciate you sharing.
Thank you very much for having me.
And we'll be back in just a moment, so don't go away.